Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you all how to make this super cute tote bag. It is a extremely beginner-friendly project, and this tutorial is very in-depth and made for somebody who has never crocheted before. If you have, I have some tips and some alterations to make the bag a little bit more advanced. Let's get right into the video. For your materials today, you'll need about 400 grams of a weight 4 yarn, a 6mm hook and scissors, as well as some sort of stitch marker. You can also find the written pattern on Instagram. Step 1, you are going to start by making a slip knot. If you've never made one before, you're going to make this little figure 8 shape with the yarn, and then take the small tail end and pull it through itself. Now whenever you pull on that tail end, the slip knot will tighten. So you want to take your hook and insert it directly into that loop, and pull pretty tight on that shorter end, keeping the long end from moving. You don't want to pull too tight, but just enough to get it to surround your hook. For step 2, you're going to make 30 chain stitches. And a chain stitch creates a giant row, which will be the foundation for your piece, the back in this case. So to start, you basically want to wrap the yarn over and around your hook. This is how it'll look from the top. And then you're going to take that loop and pull it straight through. After you have pulled through, you'll notice that little braid-like texture. That is the actual chain stitch itself. You are now going to repeat this 29 more times total, and then you will have a full row of 30 chains. Once your row is entirely complete, it will look just like this, one long, almost braid-like piece of yarn. You are then going to pick your work back up and chain one extra. I kept this separate to explain the reasoning. Basically, this is how we're going to turn our piece without losing any length. Once you're done for step 4, we are going to begin doing a half double crochet into every stitch. You're going to skip that last chain that you made, that chain 31, and go into the 30th one instead. So to make a half double crochet, you're going to start by yarning over once, then pushing it through the stitch you're going into, so this one that I'm pointing to right here. Once you have gone through it, you're going to wrap the yarn around it again, so you will end up here with 4 loops on your hook. Then you're going to pull it straight through to have 3 loops total on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over it one more time and pull it through all 3 loops. This is the foundation for the entire bag. You'll only need to learn this stitch. And I want to show you it slowly one more time. Make sure that you are skipping the one hole you just went into and going into the next one. And then keep track of the loops on your hook. You will yarn over to end up with 3, yarn over again, and pull through all 3 of them. You are going to do this all the way down the row until you have 30 total. For step 5, we are going to be placing 3 half double crochets into that last stitch instead of just the one. So once you have your total of 30 half double crochets in this row, you are going to add 2 extra into the last stitch. So this is the exact same way that you've been doing them, nothing is changing, you're just putting more than one into that same hole. So very simple, just try and crowd them in there. If it's a little hard to put your hook through, don't worry about it, just try to be a little bit lighter as you go from next time. Once you have all 3 inside of this hole, you will be able to see very clearly that they're starting to form this little curve. We call this an increase stitch. For step 6, you're going to turn your work and begin half double crocheting once more into the back stitches. So the back stitches are these little braids that you have here. Each one is a loop that kind of goes behind the next. You want to start by pulling them apart and inserting your half double crochets into those. You can also tuck in that tail if you want to, but you can weave it in later if you would like. So for now, you want to pull that piece apart. Keep the tail over top if you're tucking it in. If not, you can push it behind. And then just begin to half double crochet the same way you were, pulling through once and then pulling through all 3 loops on your hook. And I really want you guys to see what loops you're going into, so you want to pull that little back stitch apart and make sure you're only doing 1 inside of each. It'll be a total of 27 until you reach the end. Once you're done and you make it to that last stitch, you are going to be doing 3 total half double crochets. So again, it'll be 27 and then into the next stitch 1, 2, 3 to make a total of 30 half double crochets. To finish off, you are going to do a slip stitch into that first half double crochet you made. So that is that little braid that I'm pointing to here, and you're going to insert your hook underneath the 2, pull your yarn straight through and then pull it through once more. That's a slip stitch. You'll chain 1 to finish. For step 9, you are going to half double crochet all the way across until you reach the stitch that had 3 half double crochets in it in the last row. So very, very simple. You want to make sure you are doing just 1 in every single stitch and going through the side part and not the top. So if you look at how I'm doing this here, I'm going straight through and you will end up having 2, not 1. You want to have 2 of those braids like this on your hook. You'll pull it through and then pull through the other 3 loops remaining afterwards. Once you reach that last 3 half double crochet stitch of the last row, you're going to do 1 half double crochet into the first, 3 into the middle, and then 1 into the next. This is just a second increase so that way we can build up the base of the bag. So simply once you hit this middle stitch, and you'll be able to tell by the 3 being in the 1 hole in the last time, you'll do 3 in here, and then just do once more, and then you're going to continue all the way around your piece again, just doing 1 half double crochet in every single stitch. The reason that we add these increases is to keep the piece flat as you're adding length and width to it. For step 12, you'll reach that other increase you made, and you want to do the same steps over again with that 1 half double crochet, followed by 3 in the middle, followed by once more. And this will be your final increase of the project, so don't worry about needing to do any more after this. All the hard parts of this are done from this point on. So after you do your last half double crochet, we're going to finish this row off as well with a slip stitch into that first half double crochet of the previous round. So once again, find those 2 little braided bits like this, insert your hook, pull through once, pull through twice, and chain once. For row 14 onwards, you are going to half double crochet all the way around the piece with no increases. So this is simply just a 1 half double crochet, 1 half double crochet all the way around until you reach the other end. If you did what I did, you should have 69 total stitches all the way around. And yes, your ends should be curving up like this when you get to them. For step 15, you are once again going to find that first half double crochet, slip stitch into it all, and chain 1 so you can start your next row. From now, you should start seeing height being added to your bag. For step 16, you're going to be repeating the last 2 steps until you have a total of 23 rows of height to your bag. For step 17, we should have the bag entirely done and it will look like this. Your height is done from this point. Now you want to count 7 stitches on the top left, and you want to mark that stitch with whatever stitch marker you have. So I'm just using a darning needle that I had left over. From there, you want to chain 1 and then begin slip stitching around all the way until you reach that stitch marker. This is the same slip stitch that you were doing before, but instead of putting 2 rows together, you're just going around in a circle. From there, you want to remove your stitch marker. After, for step 20, you want to chain 40 times away from the bag to build the shape of the handle. For step 21, you want to repeat the same step of marking 7 stitches in and put your stitch marker into it so we know where to insert the other side. This will keep your handle totally even. You then want to go into that same stitch with your hook and then make a slip stitch straight through. This is the same we did before, where we were just attaching 2 pieces together. Once you've slip stitched, you want to chain once and then flip your work over so you can put a slip stitch into the next stitch in the bag itself. I know that's a lot of repetitive words, so I'm just going to show you as well. After you flip your work over, you want to go into this stitch here and put another slip stitch into it. This is how we're going to keep the bag stick together and sturdy, as opposed to just having 2 wimpy little handles that can pull. From there, you chain 1 and turn your work again, now half double crocheting into every stitch in the handle. You should have 39 total, since you used 1 of them to go into the bag itself, and then if you added any more stitches to have a longer handle, it'll just be 1 less than what you chained. Once you've completed this row, we're going to do a slip stitch into this stitch here, and then afterwards, you want to do 1 more slip stitch so you can make another row. You're going to chain 1 and repeat the exact same step of going into every single stitch. You want to repeat those 2 steps, 24 and 25, until the handles are as thick as you want them to be. From there, once your handles are done, you want to mark that 7th stitch once again and begin slip stitching over to it so you can make the handle on the other side. Once you get into there, you will chain 40 again, or just repeat the length of the last handle, and then mark the 7th stitch on the opposite side so we can insert the other side of the handle. You'll simply do your slip stitch the way we did it before, move your stitch marker out of the way, and then insert your slip stitch once, slip stitch again, and then you'll do your chain 1. You can repeat the exact same steps you did for the last handle here. Remember, if you ever get stuck, please just rewind the video or leave me a comment so I can help you. For step 30, you are going to do your final slip stitch into the bag and then chain once again. This will be the foundation for us to cut the yarn and pull it through to create a knot. Once you've pulled straight through that chain, you can tighten your yarn, and then we're going to flip the piece so we can weave in our ends. You can do this with a darning needle if you'd like, but I like to just use my hook and pull it through. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If this helped you, please leave me a like and subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Depop to check out anything I've made if you want to make a purchase or to check out any of the written patterns. I will see you all next week, Sunday at 1 p.m., and thank you all so much. Bye-bye.